Welcome to a postcard from No Man's Sky. Now in this video we're going to be looking at two mods which are very similar, but I thought I'd show them side by side so you can see the differences. These are mods that actually change the view of space from the original game, make it darker. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off, this is the standard vanilla game, and what I'm going to do is take off and quite literally fly up into space. And you can see with the vanilla game you've got this green texture as you fly up into space, and we're just gonna kind of fly up through, and of course we're up into coming up into space. And what I'm going to do is just do a pulse so you can see what the pulse drive looks like. You can see that the space has a kind of very greenish tinge to it. It's a very much a kind of 1970s sci-fi type look of what space would look like, and you can see this is reflected in the asteroids. And to be honest, there's part of me that actually likes this view. And you can see if we look at the planets, they've got this slightly green tinge, but at the same time, and if we kind of spin round again and kind of look at the planets we're at, it looks okay. I mean, as I say, there's part of me that actually enjoys this green view, but I can understand that those of you who kind of feel it's not realistic, it's not... Oh, gold asteroid, that's a new one. And as I say, I can quite sympathise with you guys who think, well, it doesn't look real, doesn't improve the experience. So what I'm going to do is just kind of let you look around here. I mean, the nebula's looking distinct, and as a comparison, what we're actually going to do is we're going to fly to the next system, and this is a kind of F star type star, so we're going to warp here so you can see the warp as well. I mean, the warp is very impressive as we kind of fly through the warp zone. I mean, I know some people have issues with that due to epilepsy and all that, and I must admit it has given me a slight headache. And you can see this is now a planet with a red system with blue nebulas in it. So, and you can see now, and you can see, and again, look at the space station, it's kind of got the blue tinge to everything. And the lines running through the sky are trade routes, which kind of give you ideas of what to follow. And if I kind of fly in towards these spaceships, even the spaceships kind of have this slightly hazy lack of definition to them. As I say, I'm not knocking this artwork. It's, as I say, it's part of me likes it, but there's another part of me that says, does space really look like this? And things just look slightly out of focus. As I say, if we kind of fly round, hopefully we'll get a view of the ship, you know, of the underside of the ship. You know, the lighting's quite soft. Great. Well, I don't want to fight a battle, so this is where I'm going to leave it for this one. And what we're going to do in the next part is look at one of the mods that changes space. So see you in a minute. Well, here we are, guys. We're back on the landing pad in exactly the same position as when I started the vanilla game run. This time we are using the deep space mod. It's obviously getting a bit darker. There's the V2 version, and we're going to do exactly the same path again. Take off. Obviously my talking, I've made it, but you can still see there's a little bit of the art thing here. And this time we're flying out into space, and again I'm gonna do a pulse drive just to get us away from the planet. You can see now everything is a lot darker, and there's a contrast, although in some ways having the darker cockpit seems to bring up the highlights around the cab. The cockpit, not cab, what am I on about? And you can see now, compared to the vanilla game, it's very much more lifelike. You can see that there's a strong contrast. You can still see the trade routes in the background, but they're a bit more kind of softer and muted, and the lighting's harsh. I think it kind of gives a harsh reality of what space is like, and you can see the difference with the the photon cannon now, that the actual shots stand out a bit more, where in the vanilla game they looked a bit wishy-washy and weak. And I found an iron asteroid this time. So yeah, so I mean, the only thing I would say about this is that it's probably a bit too dark. You can see the kind of the supplementary colours like here are just a bit too muted, but I still like this mod. I mean, don't get me wrong guys, I do like it, and I think if you're really into realism, there's a kind of an effect on the lighting here that's, I don't know, just makes it look real. And again, I think this comes down to, you know, those of you who want to have a really realistic view of the world. Oops, obviously we need to blow us a hole right through that, otherwise we're going to get it. I think this could be the mod for you. And as I say, we're just going to fly around a bit. See if I can find a planet again. Let's get a bit of momentum. There we are. You can see the colours are contrasted. The icons are lifted now. They don't seem to be so slightly out of focus type effect. And what we're going to do now is exactly the same as I did last time. We're going to just do the hyperdrive out to here. In some ways, even this, having the black contrast even in this map, seems to kind of make it look a little better. Oops. And we can't go there, so I think this is the furthest we could go, so we're going to engage. The downside here is you can see that a lot of where the colours lit, I mean, if you don't like the flashing, this might be the better mod for you. But what I do like is the lighting in the cab. And we're now in this other system. And again, what you can see here is where you had the blue in the vanilla game. You don't have that now, but the positive side is that the colours, if I can find the space station, you can see that, I don't know, the colours are lifted is probably the correct word, with the space station and the ships. And if I can find a ship now, you can see it's almost like the ships have a real focus. They are in focus. They're nice and sharp. So that's the positive side of using this mod. And even the engines now, look at that. I mean, again, oh yeah, oh, I can't hang around too long. Don't want to end up in a battle. Actually, let's give it a go. Actually, yes, I know. Need to get onto the phase beam. Yeah. Where are they? Where are you? We'll see if we can get off a few phase shots. Yeah, where they are. Because these guys are in attack. There we are, guys. Does that make the beam look more realistic? I'm not too sure, actually, to be honest. See if we can get one before we go. And I don't want to die because I could lose the save game. So how about that space battle? Well, I'm out of shielding, so sorry guys, gotta go. Right, here we go again now, guys. This is going to be the second mod. It's actually called Immersive Space. It's very similar to the Deep Space mod, but in some ways the colouring is a little bit more subtle. But we'll give this a run just so you guys can see it. And I'm just gonna run up into space, and as I say, I'm gonna hit the pulse drive just so you can see the difference. You can see the lighting in the cab isn't, or cockpit, I keep saying cab, isn't quite so, there isn't such a strong contrast. So if you're into more of a softer lighting effect, so it's still dark compared to the vanilla game, but if you kind of look round, you can actually see some of the nebula that are kind of buried in the vanilla game but disappear from the Deep Space one are back. So there's a bit, so it's not quite so dark and even, and again the lighting is a little bit more subtle. If we get in towards these asteroids, you don't get that really harsh lighting. Yeah, so yeah, so and again the actual trade routes are there, but they're not quite so strong, which is, must admit, I do like there. So you can see them, but they're not obtrusive. And again, the pulse cannons very similar to the previous mod. There's a bit more of a definition. You can see what's actually going on. And again, if I kind of try and shoot across the lighting, you can see the lighting on the minerals as they come in. If I can get in there, come on. If you see it, you just see it. And again, if you look at the planets, there's still illumination. Let's see if I can find a planet where. So, and the sun, you've got the halo around the sun with the kind of corresponding reflection in, I presume that's in the lens. Basically you're getting lens flare around the sun. So, don't know if we can see any more planets here. So it's very much a personal preference. I mean, I'll be honest, I probably, depends on what mood I'm in, I suppose, is the end. I mean, I've been switching routinely between all the vanilla game and Deep Space and Immersive. I mean, I just can't make up my mind between the two mods, to be honest. I think I think it depends a little bit on my mood. Like if I'm feeling a bit mellow, I will just kind of get out now and yeah. So if I'm feeling a little bit mellow, and again you can see the difference on the map here, in the sense that you can still see the lines. They're a little bit more clearer, but the map is very closer to the vanilla game. And we're just going to run off. Again, you can see that they've managed to preserve the hyperdrive on this mod. Yeah, as I say, if I'm feeling a bit mellow and I'm just feeling a bit relaxed, then I will tend to use the Immersive mod. If I'm kind of feeling a bit more like I want to get out there and do something a bit more aggressive, then I will kind of change to the Deep Space mod. So, and there are some effects you can see on the planet as well. But again, you can see that the colouring is not quite so harsh on the space station and the planets, especially like this one over here that's in half light. And if we kind of go across and see if we can find the spaceships they've obliged, you can see the spaceships are there, but again the lighting is like halfway between the vanilla game and Deep Space. You've got a bit of clarity, but at the same time it's not really harshly lit, and there's a bit more depth at the colour. Oh, here we go. Oh, well. Let's see if we can kill a few of these guys. Oops, it's a bit too far out. So oh, where are you? Need some traction. Oh, here we go again. I think it's time to bug out here, guys. But that's the mod. So hope you've enjoyed this video, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut back to the vanilla game so we can kind of do a little bit of a roundup. So until then, guys, see you in a minute. Well, here we are, we're back on the landing pad in the vanilla game, but before I get into just rounding off this video, I want to talk about a couple of extra things which are in the Deep Space mod. These relate to visual effects on the planet. One is the rim lighting is reduced. If you're not familiar with the rim lighting, it's the highlighting round objects you can click on. In the vanilla game it's quite obtrusive, but in the Deep Space mod that's been reduced, and there's also the landscape fog, so the landscape's a bit clearer. Now I've also noticed that the effects are kind of a little bit similar in immersive space, so again it's going to come down to what I'm actually going to draw as a conclusion to this video is that both mods are terrific. I like both of them, but then again I still like the vanilla game. I like the hazy colour effects sometimes, so I'm probably not the best person to make a recommendation. That's why I'm not going to make a recommendation. I think it's going to be very much down to personal choice. So if any of you guys are really interested in this type of mod or change, I suggest you just load them up. They're very simple to load. It's just a very quick copy paste a file into a certain directory. The instructions are very clear, so it's not a complicated process swapping these mods around. So I think that's about it, and this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.